Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen here with life and energy coach Linda Armstrong. Today is Friday, May the 31st, 2019. It's 4 p.m. in New York, 1 p.m. in Los Angeles, 9 p.m. in London, and 6 a.m. in Sydney, Australia. But wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining us for another episode of LOA Today, your daily dose of happy. And I am happy to be doing my Friday show with Linda because it's always a high energy thing to be doing. I have a topic in mind that I wanted to go into today, and it'll probably chew up some time, but we also have our live streamers. So anybody who's listening to the live stream and has a topic or question they want us to bring up, by all means, enter that in. We'll be glad to include that in the conversation. But before we get going, I want to get some announcements out of the way. First of all, for those of you who have been thinking about, contemplating perhaps applying to be one of our cast members in the upcoming audio play podcast series that Alex King and I are developing called The Grass is Greener. Today, May 31st, is the last day to get in your application. And it's very easy to do. There's not actually an application to fill out. All you have to do is just make a little 20-second selfie video on your smartphone and send it to me via email to walt@loatoday.net, and we will include you in our deliberations as Alex and my sister PJ, who's going to be our director, and I go through and figure out who we want to cast for the different roles. So if you've been thinking about it, don't think any longer. You keep putting it off, you're going to lose it because today's the last day. But by all means, send it in. And we have had people sending it in, including I see Jeffrey, he sent something in. So yeah, people have been responding, and it's been great. We've been getting some really, really good candidates. I've loved some of the voices I've heard so far. It's going to be kind of a tough decision, trying to decide who we're going to pick. But what I can tell you is we're going to have a good cast by the time we're done. That much I'm sure of. So good stuff there. Also, for those of you who are not yet subscribers to the podcast, please become one. Just go to the homepage of our website, loatoday.net, and you can subscribe right there. It will walk you through the process. Be sure to subscribe and share the fact that you're doing that with friends as well. And here on YouTube, if you're listening on YouTube, either to the live stream or to the recorded version, make sure that you subscribe there as well, and click the little bell after you subscribe so that you get notified every time that we're going live or leaving a recording behind. And that way you can follow us there as well. So those are our announcements for the day. And my friend Linda is there waiting to jump in and talk about all this wonderful energy that we're dealing with and these big increases in energy that are going on around the globe. I was telling that to my sister today, Linda, just about a half hour ago on a phone conversation, which was really what she needed to hear. She was kind of in a bad way about what's going on in the world politically and news and all that kind of stuff. And I was saying, no. Linda keeps telling me all this good stuff's happening energetically. Those of us who are among the enlightened, we have to say to ourselves, this is good. We got to just choose to stay on the side of what we prefer and stop tying into all the stuff we don't prefer.
Absolutely, because that stuff is just designed to keep you in fear and to keep you away from knowing your power and your ability to create whatever you want in your life and to be in that high vibration aligned with, source energy, and not stuck in these lower vibes. I mean, it's all brainwashing. All this stuff on the news is forever has just been really to keep us in check, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And that also kind of ties into my topic. I want to tell a story, though, before we get going. Okay. People who have been following the podcast for quite some time know that when I first started to expand beyond doing it as a once-a-weeker and started doing it like at one point twice a day, I was using a platform called the Spreaker platform, speaker with an R in it, Spreaker. And one of the reasons I had chosen Spreaker at that point was because it was at that point in time the only way to also get listed in iHeartRadio, which of course is one of the big platforms for podcasting and for music in general too. Well, I was with Spreaker for about a year and a half or so, year and 3/4, and I was running into more and more issues. You remember some of the issues that I was running into, and I finally got to the point where I said, it's time to make a change. So I made a change. That was about 9 months ago, and we started with Zoom for a little bit. Then we went to Blue Jeans for about 5 or 6 months, and now we're back on Zoom. Well, during that time, obviously, I canceled my Spreaker because I didn't need that anymore. So I canceled that account, and all that I had left was their free version. Well, today, not 20 minutes ago, before we started this, I got an email from Spreaker saying, "Congratulations, you have been accepted into iHeartRadio."
Wow.
I thought that was just really something considering I canceled the account basically. I'm not using their service anymore, but the energy that I put out there had finally come through. I thought that's really cool.
So is there a way to get in touch with, or it has to be through Spreaker to be on the on the iHeart?
It used to be. Now iHeart has other ways that you can get in there. But when I was first exploring this, when I first chose Spreaker, at that point, it was the only way to get into iHeart. So that's why I chose that solution at that time.
So I wonder if you can contact iHeart and say, oh, thank you, but I'm no longer with the original service I was with. How can I stay with you?
Oh, yeah, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I have to. The email that I received said it's going to the show's going to show up on iHeart sometime in the next 72 hours. So I'll be watching for that over the weekend, and then when I see it, then I'll go take control of the account and so forth. But I just thought that was so cool. I mean, I put that out, a year and a half ago, and I guess my resistance to it got down to the point of 0, so it finally came through, and bam, it came through.
So, but maybe contact them before that, because they might go to hook it up and then can't because you don't have Spreaker.
Well, I still have a Spreaker account. I'm just not paying for it. I mean, because anybody can have a free account. I have basically their free account now. I'm just not paying them a fee anymore.
Okay.
Which is what makes it really ironic, because I was paying them a fee. I stopped paying a fee, and then I got approved.
Well, you know what's interesting? And I don't know what your question was going to be about, what you wanted to talk about. Mm-hmm. But my June energy update, which is on my YouTube channel now, is all about how it's like the pieces are coming together. Okay, I uploaded it a couple of days ago. You have to go listen to it. Well, like really, we're doing all that purging, all this shifting, all this changing, all that scary stuff happening out in the world. But it is all for a purpose. And even when in your part of it, you'll start to see things coming together, and it's almost like you'll have these aha moments where something makes sense. Like maybe there's this pattern that you've been repeating over. It's like, God, I think I should be done with this now, and you'll get some insight as to why it was showing up again, or that it is now gone, or something will happen. And it'll be like, all right, I get it now. Yeah.
Very cool.
I mean, your iHeart experience is kind of like that. It's like things are coming together.
They are.
Your show, this new show you're doing where things are just coming together, right?
Boy, they really are too. It's been exciting. It's fun to be a part of it. I talked last week about how doing mundane tasks associated with it was fun. And I couldn't remember the last time mundane tasks were fun, but they were really, really fun. And since then, it's been easy peasy since then. It's been really, really easy. It's
because your energy is so aligned with it. Mm-hmm. So that's just going to keep fueling it, and things will just continue to grow in a good way because you're holding that high vibe.
And that's exciting. Just seeing if there's anybody bringing up questions. People basically saying hello as they're listening to the live stream. So hello, everybody, and they're saying hello to each other. The topic I had in mind actually came out of the conversation I had with my sister. And it also ties into some other conversations I've had in the last few days with a number of people who are experiencing all kinds of frustration in their lives. They're fed up with things that are going on and so on and so forth. And so the topic that kind of formed my mind was we who are learning to be enlightened, who are learning how all this stuff works, who are tapping into the energy, tapping into our inner being, we can also be kind of caught up in the storms that are out there.
Oh, yeah.
And we can get caught up in other people's storms. So that's really the topic I had in mind. If you find yourself tied up in somebody else's storm, how do you extricate yourself from that? I've been seeing a lot of people posting about that on Facebook. That was another reason I started thinking about that as a topic. Because we can easily be influenced by other people's energy for the worse, so what do you do?
So you know how everything's a teacher, right? So those experiences, if you're starting to notice, I'm taking on that person's problem or that person's energy, that's like, let's celebrate that. Yay for you for noticing the boundaries of your own energy,
right?
And you're taking on someone else's. Yeah. Because just by acknowledging that it's not your energy, you can release it.
True.
So easy. It's like, hold on a second. Like that, I always teach that no matter what's going on. All of a sudden you're in this lower energy and you're like, well, hold on, wait a minute. Is this my energy or is this someone else's energy? What was I doing? Where was I? oh, I was with so and so and they were talking about, and I must have taken it in.
Right.
So you just kind of ask spirit, the universe. It's like, okay, is this, or yourself, feel it for yourself. Is this energy mine?
Mm.
And you're like, no. Okay, I'm going to release it. I don't need to hold it. And you, just like that, with that decision to let it go, you can let it go.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it also too helps because you have to kind of have this understanding. And the hardest place it is to have this understanding is for a parent. But we all each come here with our own purpose, with our own path, with things that we are here to learn and experience.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're just talking like me and you, it's like, yeah, okay, Walt's got hit. Walt's going, say you're going through something. Well, Walt's going through this, and God, I really want to help him, but I know it's his journey. Like I can influence him with my energy. I can give him some tips, but I can't fix it for him because it's his journey. But parents have a hard time with that.
Mm. Parents
want to fix all their kids' stuff.
Yes.
They want to mold what they think would be best for, I mean, I see that, I hate to say it, I see it in some really affluent towns because my dojo's in an affluent town, and I can see how the parents are molding the kids and not giving the kids the freedom to be who they are.
I would say it's even gotten bigger than that. You're right. That is an affluent characteristic.
But I really don't want to stereotype that. I've seen a lot of it. It doesn't mean it's all like that. I mean, I know a lot of affluent families that are switched on.
But now I'm seeing it in a wide range of demographics. I'm seeing large numbers of families from a variety of different backgrounds and so forth where that same dynamic is happening. And I'm seeing it more and more and more. Lots and lots of it's happening. Yeah. And each time I say to myself, you know what? It's not my thing to worry about. I'm moving on. Not my thing to worry about. Moving on.
Right. Like you send love and you bless them for their journey. And, you can call in ask their guides and angels to be more present in their life to help them find a way for them to feel it and see it and know it for themselves. I mean, we can't make it happen for them, but we can just send, energy that could influence. Like I notice people who I would never think would understand anything. Like, okay, my mom, I wouldn't understand what it is I do and how I do it and how I think. But let me tell you something. And I haven't told her how to be any way in her life. She's changing.
Nice.
She's shifting. She's opening up. She's asking questions that she would have thought were a sin to ask before,
No kidding. Wow.
So, and I'm not doing anything to make that happen other than being me and following my path and holding my light and just sending that love out.
That's fabulous. That's a wonderful, what a wonderful result that is when you get that. Yeah. That's validation, right? That's right. And you know what? I love that because I only teach based on what I know to be real, right? So like, I know that to be real. I know I didn't do anything in particular to have her open her awareness. Right. But it's happening. So cool. That is great. Now, of course, there are times we also get opportunities. I mean, you like you said, you really can't fix anybody else's problem. And that's true. You really can't. But sometimes through sharing of energy and positive feeling, good feeling, and so forth, we can help influence people who are ready to receive that influence. And sometimes we even get that in direct conversation. So the conversation I had with my sister, we were talking about a lot of these issues going on. She was actually going on and on about, conspiracy theories and all this other stuff. And after a while, she was getting to the point where it was like, well, we got to do something. We got to do something. Got to do something. Got to do something. Got to do something. So I just started reminding her a bit about law of attraction. You don't want to be focusing on what you don't want. You want to focus more on what you want. Otherwise, you get more of what you don't want. And that kind of slowed her down a little bit. And then reminding her, it's not up to us to solve all the problems of the world. The problems of the world will sort themselves out. We just have to believe in what it is that we're wanting to bring into our lives. And that helped her a bit too. And I just was sharing all these different thoughts and sending positive energy her way. And by the time we were done, she was calm. Now, I could try to take credit for that. I'll take credit for having given some influence and sharing some energy, but she's the one who did it. Yeah. I simply just gave her some of the stuff that she needed to remind herself, oh yeah, this stuff all works itself out. I don't have to get into that angst situation.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But then if you did notice your energy dip,
oh yeah,
then you can be like, okay, so maybe I've taken some of that on. I'm just going to ask to release that now, And you just call in the light and you just breathe one thing I like to do is I'll have people, just do some slow, deep breathing.
Mm-hmm.
But on the out breath, you're releasing the energy you've taken on. And on the in breath, you're calling back your own energy that you've scattered out and about.
Okay.
And then you're just bringing in that light and that love, just filling yourself up with that high vibration. And, your imagination will take you there, right? If you don't even believe it's real, that you could do that would work, pretend that it's real.
Right.
And let yourself, it's like creating a little mini movie of doing this thing, fully expecting that it'll happen because it's part of the script. The outcome is my energy is clear.
Mm-hmm.
That's enough to open you up to allow it to happen, where then you have this experience like, wow, I actually feel better after that.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I guess it's kind of real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's true. That's right. That's one of the ways that we get validation that this stuff really is real. This stuff really does work. And we need that validation. That's how we raise our own energy level, just by being validated. Like, yeah, this is working. I'm connecting. I'm feeling it. I'm getting there. This is good. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
Some of our listeners were sharing some of their favorite things about how to get into that better feeling place. I wanted to share them with you. Jeffrey and Jamie were having a little conversation, and what was it? Jeffrey says he likes to walk away and meditate. So if he's dealing with a situation where the energy is kind of sucking him out, that's his approach. And it's a good approach. Sometimes you just have to kind of vacate the space, get away, and kind of get inside who you really are and feel better that way. And disengage in a sense. And then I think it's Jamie said, I like to restart at I am and center myself and then listen rather than react. That's a good approach too. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good.
It's funny because
Jeffrey had a great little phrase here. He says, it's not my monkeys, not my circus. I like that one.
Yeah. So I had in meditation this week, and I'm going to do something with this. I'll probably make a video, and I might even do an audio track on it with like brain entrainment music. Mm-hmm. Just a mantra. I am love. Mm. I live love. I am free.
Very nice.
Because when we know ourselves for our truth, and that is this energy of love, that allows for freedom. The freedom is freedom from the fear, freedom from all those lower energies that pull you down or make you feel less than and all of that. Mm-hmm. When you really truly hold that I am love, I live love. Well, that's my whole thing. LoveMyLife.coach is all about living through this energy of love. Mm-hmm. And then adding the I am free and just repeating that as a mantra. Maybe that's your meditation. You're just repeating that. Because the subconscious mind, you keep feeding it something new, and it's going to rewrite the program over another program.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. I love the fact, Jamie, that Jamie pointed at the I am statement, because that comes directly from Neville Goddard's teaching. He starts with that. He says that is the foundation for everything that you're trying to do in terms of improving your life. You start with I am. Everything else builds off of that. And it's a great point.
I mean, there are really a lot of teachers out there that do talk about that.
Oh, there are. I don't mean to suggest that he was the only one who said that. Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
So that's what had me remember. Oh yeah, I had this thing happen this week with the I am. So there's her statement right there.
Yeah. So good stuff. I like that. It is an interesting thing though, because when we're dealing with our regular everyday lives, the things that we do every day, it is so easy to get wrapped up in somebody else's energy. And so that mindfulness becomes really, really important. The way you were talking about being aware and saying, congratulating yourself for noticing like, oh my God, I just, I seem to be taking out somebody else's energy. And do I really want that? No, I really don't want that. So I'm going to cleanse it out of myself. Sometimes though, we don't notice. And, it kind of raises the question, okay, so if you're feeling down and you really haven't noticed where it came from, what do you do?
Well, I mean, that's the whole thing about awakening, People who aren't awake yet, they wouldn't know what to do. They would get sucked into the drama because that's what it is. You're just getting sucked into drama, right? Like in the office at the water cooler, everybody's gossiping about this one or that one. That's just such a low energy, a low vibration place. Mm-hmm. Very low. So as you're awakening, you're no longer drawn to that. because you're not at that vibration anymore, right?
Good point. Yeah.
So then as you're raising your vibration and you can be more in this higher vibe of love, or, up and around love, appreciation, gratitude, you really don't get drawn into that. And so it doesn't show up in your experience, right? So if you're no longer vibrating to it, it's not going to come up onto your doorstep. You can be in that same office building where all that junk goes on, but it doesn't affect you. You don't even hear it. Someone gets in your face and tells you, did you see what so-and-so did? And you're like, huh?
Yes.
No, right? It's like, it's not even in your awareness.
Right. Yeah. And that's cool when that happens. I've had that happen quite a bit lately.
It's a good indicator, because when you start to become more aware of noticing energy and seeing these things, you can actually see people who just aren't there yet. And if I were to have a conversation with, if I were to start talking to them about the stuff I do, they would be like, they think I was totally out there and they wouldn't hear a word I say. It would be up to them. If they were starting to awaken, they hear me talking about something, they want to know more because there's been a seed planted in there, and they're like, what were you talking about? What, that's really possible? Yeah, I don't know about that. But it opens them up to start asking questions. Yeah. So again, you can't force it on anybody. No. Everybody's awakening to some degree or another. It's impossible not to, I'd say, right? It's just different levels of it.
It's kind of a good reminder that as we are learning ourselves, as we're growing and enlightening ourselves, we are also acquiring the information and the tools and the understanding, so that when we run into somebody else who's starting to ask questions, we can help answer their questions. In essence, we're helping to pass the message along just by doing our own development, which is cool.
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of times it'll surprise you. You're like, where did that come from? What? I just said that? And that's because we are being downloaded, upgraded. Some people are aware of it, can feel it. I can feel it when it's happening. Other people are oblivious to it. Doesn't mean it's not happening. It's still happening. And so the more of us who are aware, and we keep sending that energy out there, that's influencing the collective. So instead of that collective energy of drama and all that fear and all that problems that could go on, and if you were smart, you would not really listen to the news unless you just wanted to check in and see what the rest of the world is up to.
Which I do.
Without letting yourself be influenced by it. That's different.
And even that you got to be careful with. It's still easy to get sucked in doing just that little amount. So you got to be cautious about it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're going to do it limited to that. I set a rule for myself. I limit myself to headlines. The moment that I want to start delving into the headlines is the moment it's time to walk away from the computer.
I kind of have it easy because my husband and my son like to check in with stuff. And so I'll say, anything going on?
Get it vicariously, right?
Anything going on? You think I might be curious? And they're usually like, no, not really.
Not really.
Tell me something, Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah. So, okay. Well, then, let's see if we can, come at this and see if we can find another approach. Well, okay. Some of the people who are going to be hearing this podcast, this is relatively new to them. Maybe they're among those who are beginning to ask the questions. Okay. And maybe they're in some sort of a dim way beginning to recognize, yeah, maybe this thing is going on with me, like what you were talking about. Maybe I'm not even realizing I'm taking on somebody else's energy or whatever. So what can we tell to them to help them, take their next steps along their path?
Well, I would say just see if you can expand your awareness to maybe listening to things. if you have any interest in it at all, then there's something for you to hear, right? But at the same time, you are your own best judge. So just because I'm talking about something doesn't mean I have all the answers, that I even know what I'm talking about, right? Because you have your own world, your own universe. And if it, who's to say anybody else? What I'm saying is don't give your power away. There's a lot of people talking about a lot of things. It's like you find what resonates for you and what doesn't. But if you listen to this podcast, you are awakening and you are opening up to knowing your power, or you wouldn't even care about law of attraction. So Law of attraction is a really a good starting place, I mean, starting place. I mean, at anywhere in your journal, it just expands you more. A journey, it just expands you even more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So maybe the first step, there are a lot of first steps you could possibly take, but maybe one of them is don't worry about it. You're doing fine.
Just follow your intuition, follow your own guidance. What something rings true to you, then it's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's like, I quoted a movie to my sister toward the end of our phone conversation. I don't know if you've seen it, the movie, The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. One of the cliche phrases that runs through that movie is everything will be all right in the end. And if it's not yet all right, it's not yet the end.
Yeah.
Just a reminder, chill. Don't worry about it. Ignore the drama. Skip all that part. Just trust that everything is working out because everything is already working out.
Yeah, that's a big thing. What if this is exactly how it's supposed to be? That's the way I look at it. Because especially when challenging things show up, I'm like, all right, well, if this is really how it's supposed to be, and this is part of my big plan, then, okay, what can I take from this so I can move on to the next thing? Mm-hmm. It's when you don't really get what the message might be, that you keep repeating it, and it might have to come in a different way until you actually finally get it. So that's really kind of what my, update was about for this month, because sometimes a pattern will repeat, maybe in a little bit different way, but it's ultimately got the same root. Mm-hmm. With theta healing, with any healing, we're always trying to get down to the root cause, like where it began, right? And clear that. Mm-hmm. And when you clear that bottom belief or that root cause, you clear everything else attached to it. Mm-hmm. It's just gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Life's supposed to be a game, right? So we'll just make it as fun as we can. And when we're not in those fun moments, and I've been there. I had a couple of days like that last week. I'm like, oh, come on again.
Yeah. We all get that.
What's going on with this story? I've cleared everything on it. And that was part of my update too, And then like yesterday and today, even after I made that video, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I get it now. So it's really going to be a month of like ahas, like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Because ultimately it's all about reconnecting to your truth and to this energy that you are. Everything's energy. You are spirit, and spirit is love. Mm-hmm. We're one source. We're all the same. We're all the same. We all come from the same. We are all a part of each other and the same energy. I really, truly believe that.
I think it is true.
But you have to, if you really, truly believe that, that means that evil person is the same too, though.
It's true. Yeah.
Right.
And it takes that could take some time to kind of adjust to that. Because it seems like, well, it should be us versus them, right? But it's not. It's not.
No. And I think that the more that we can hold that light and teach the light and be that light bringer, that lighthouse that shines the light out, then that will help those people who are so disconnected from it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I like to remember that they are in the process of reconnecting. Because really what's happening.
Yeah, and
that's what alignment is, isn't it?
And who's to say that they didn't take that role on because there's a greater good coming from the evil?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sure.
Right?
Yeah, it could be. It could very well
It's hard to look at it that way, but sometimes really bad things happen, but then you see like the outcome that sprinkles out, like a lot of good things came from it. And you're like, wow, oh my God. That's like mind-blowing.
It is. It is. The other thing that I've noticed kind of along the same lines is that stuff happens. I mean, that's just part of life. We do live in what Abraham calls the world of contrast. And we came here deliberately to live and experience this contrast. Lots of good things happening, but also a lot of stuff happening we don't like. Okay, that's just part of it.
Because there's a purpose to it.
Well, more than that, there may be a purpose to it. I have to admit, I'm not totally sure what that's all about yet. I'm still working that out in my mind. But this much I do know.
Hold on. Our mind cannot ever figure it out.
Well, okay, that's probably a fair evaluation. But where I was going with it is, even if stuff happens, it really comes down to one thing: how are you going to respond to it? If we choose to respond to it by climbing into the drama and getting all worked up about the drama, that's one choice. But it's not the only choice. There are lots of different choices we can make. Another choice we can make is to laugh at it. Or a third choice we could make is to withdraw from it. Or a fourth choice we could make is to just ignore it entirely. I mean, there are lots of different choices we could make. The question is, how are we going to respond to it? and which response is going to feel best to us.
Right. And that's what Abraham teaches, always to reach for that next better feeling thought. You know, what do you want? You want to dive into the drama, or do you want to find something that'll make you feel a little bit better, that will lift you out and up?
And the cool thing is, the more that we recognize this, what we're talking about here, and the more that we realize we get to decide and then exercise that and say, okay, here's what my choice is. I choose to react in this way. The more that we do that, interestingly enough, the more that we do that, the bad stuff that happens seems further and further away. Do you notice that too?
It
feels like it's not part of my life anymore after a while.
The drama parts.
Yeah.
It starts falling away, and it's not even going to be, unless it's like in some movie that you're watching.
Or perhaps in a podcast audio play like we're putting together. But
it just won't be part of your everyday experience.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, it still is. I mean, I've got plenty of contrast going on right now in my life, especially with people who are close to me in my life. It just isn't touching me like it was before. Before, I'd get sucked in like crazy. Now it's like, it's almost like I'm kind of outside of it in a sense, even though it's part of my daily life. It's strange.
Well, you know what? I don't know why I just picked this card, but as we're talking, it's an 11. 11's a good number, but it's cornucopia upside down.
Okay.
Okay, so cornucopia is about abundance and stuff like that usually.
Right.
But let's see, in the reverse position, it says the cornucopia reversed is often a card of personal frustration. You may find yourself feeling discouraged by having your wishes denied, or perhaps you're just disappointed with the delays that are involved.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be surprised or too disheartened if obstacles seem to block your way.
Mm.
It may simply take some patience and persistent action, or it may require a radical shift in how you're approaching your goals.
Mm.
This card reversed may indicate a cycle of restriction or a period of lack or loss. Don't let this deter you. Use this time to go deeper. There may be lessons to be learned or an entirely new direction to take. Be open, flexible, and aware. Remember, there are many roads to happiness. So, I mean, I guess I could be actually speaking to really not getting caught up in that drama thing, or even getting stuck into judgment of whatever these other things are that are showing up that are maybe not even yours, right? Getting back to that beginning of this conversation. This too shall pass, right? Yeah. So I don't know, did that hit you in any particular way? Well,
yeah, that card seemed to be discussing exactly what we were discussing. It seemed like you pulled that card out deliberately. And I know you didn't. That's not the way.
I love how that happens.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how that was ever even going to relate, but anyway.
Well, it related pretty directly, I would say, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about getting sucked into other people's dramas, other people's stuff, and you don't have to do that. You know,
or even our own drama. Do we need to be stuck in our own drama? Can we pull it's like pretend that you're just this observer looking at your own stuff, so that you can actually possibly see it. So if you're an objective observer, you're not holding any this is right, this is wrong energy. You're just looking at it. Right. So when you can pull yourself out of your own internal drama and look at it, you might be able to see where that lesson is, what it is it maybe was, why this showed up for you to look at it.
Okay.
What do you have to clear around that? Like what is it telling me?
And you've referred to clearing a few times. We've talked about it in the past, but let's also bring it in here. What is meant by clearing? When you say that you're clearing something, what does that mean? What are you actually doing? Well, I mean, we are energy, right? We live in a body. We're energetic beings. Even just the fact that this body is made up of energy. Everything is made up of particles of energy, right? Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we have an energy field. And so I can put it back to even the whole thing with the matrix. Like if we're like this, say, computer program, and everything that shows up in our experience is part of the program, right? So, but there's something that comes in, and you're like, I don't like that. I don't want that as part of I don't want that in my computer. I got to clear that out. That's like a virus.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get rid of it.
Right.
So every element of your life has an energetic component because, of course, everything is energy.
Mm-hmm.
So if something's showing up that you don't want, there's some kind of energetic program in your computer that is running, that is bringing the experience to you. Because that's energy. Like attracts like. Whatever you send out, it's a boomerang. It's going to come back. We're not always consciously aware of this energy that we're sending out because we think we're sending a certain energy out. And that's why you always have to attach to the feeling.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm wealthy. I'm rich. Meanwhile, you're fearing the guy knocking on your door for money, right? So what energy are you holding as you say, I am wealthy, blah, 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 all these affirmations? Mm-hmm. It's always the energy that matters, right?
Right.
So when we're clearing out those energetic programs that just do not serve you anymore. They may have served you at some point. There was something to learn from it. But if it's stopping you from moving forward, it's like a glitch in the program. We need to clear it out. So energetically, we can clear that out.
Okay. And what's always amazed me is how simple it is to clear it out. I mean, I always thought it had to be some really complex process, but it isn't. I mean, it's just simple as, okay, inner self, I want to clear that out. Please clear it out for me. I mean, there's not a lot of complexity to it.
You know what? You just declare, I am love. I live love. I'm free. I'm free of that pattern. Why not? Why can't it be that easy? My message I get from my guides all the time is, first of all, it's always that there's no right way. Find your own way and keep it simple. Like everything I do, I try to keep it simple. Maybe that's why I can't hold all technical stuff in my brain.
Okay.
Because that would be too complicated for me, I like to just keep it simple. I don't have to know all the little details about it. And that's why that's probably why I do the energy modality I do. Because we can clear out the program without having to know the things that actually created it.
Yeah. Which is valuable. Because if you don't have to figure all that out, boy, does that save you a lot of energy and grief and angst and so forth.
And especially since we this isn't our only life we've ever lived. We can't remember all that stuff. We come here, we let go, we release all of that knowledge of our history, and we come in as like this fresh little being here to learn whatever you decided to learn before you came here. Based on maybe all of that other stuff, but we don't have to know the details now in order to release it and clear it.
Now, I have to say that I remember when we were when you first came onto the show last summer, and then you did an energy thing with me, and we talked about that and so forth. I remember being a little confused, and sometimes I still get a little confused about the fact that when we come into this life, like you say, we come in from life from other lives where we don't really remember what happened in the past, but those things in the past can sometimes have a detrimental influence on our own lives. It's like, well, geez, why would I come into a life where I don't remember and yet it's influencing my life? It seems strange that we would do that.
Because there was a program built that you're still running.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've gotten to the point now where I just kind of shrug it off and not worry about it, but at first that one really threw me.
I just picked lend a hand.
Oh, nice.
Lend a hand.
Picture of two people on a rope bridge reaching out to each other.
Yeah. So let's see what that's all about. Number 38. All right. Let's see how this maybe ties into what we're talking about. So it says the answer is simple. Lend a hand. The greatest expression of spirit is to love and serve others, and your spirit is now calling upon you to do so. All right, so we've been talking about sharing love and shining light, and that's how we help everyone, right?
Right. It
says, don't mistake service with rescue. Yeah.
Very
so right there, before even reading any further, I don't even know what she's going to say about it. But sometimes when, a lot of people, and they don't realize it, and even if they've been healers in other lifetimes, they'll take other people's energy on in an effort to heal that person and relieve them. So you have to hopefully become aware of that and let go of that program. I can't tell you how many people I help. I have to clear vows, oaths, and decisions that compel them and make them have to heal everyone and clear everyone's energy by taking it on themselves.
By the way, there's a side of that too. I'm glad you mentioned this point. There's a side of that people often overlook, because when people want to kind of take on somebody else's energy or take on someone else's problems to try to solve their problems, they think they're doing that from a good point, from a point of love and care and concern and so forth. What they often don't realize, though, is that if you do that, not only can it have effects that you don't really have in mind when you're first trying it, but it can actually alienate the other person because the other person already has their own path that they're following and you're interfering in their path. It can actually piss them off, which is not the result you look for.
Well, and that's the whole thing. Yeah, and that's the whole thing. How you can't help anyone who doesn't want to have any help.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Someone could pay me tons of money for healing work, but if they don't really want it, like someone else told them they needed to do it, it's just not going to work. You have to be in full agreement with it.
Yeah.
So if they don't appreciate what you're doing for them, then you're obviously not helping them. But a lot of times this is subconscious. We don't even know we're doing this.
Yeah.
So that's more, I think, what I was kind of wanting to focus on more is sometimes you don't even realize that you're doing this, right? It's just another one of those programs running in the background that we want to clear.
Yeah.
Okay, so it says, so don't mistake service with rescue. To serve is an act of great spiritual power, born of love and focused on empowering others. Rescue, on the other hand, is born of a fearful ego and keeps both you and the others enslaved to weakness. Because here you're in judgment that what they're experiencing is wrong.
Right.
Maybe it's perfect.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Then it also says, look around and notice where your spirit is calling to serve. Where is there a need to lend a hand? Where is there a struggle you might help alleviate? Where might you be able to empower others and help them remember their divinity? Open your eyes and heart and notice your opportunities. Discern the difference between service and rescue, love and fear. Another perfect card. It ties into everything, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it says, don't allow your ego to distract from true service and compassion by rushing in to rescue others without the intention or thought to empower them. See, that's another thing. A lot of people, when they do come from ego, it's more about, I can save you.
Yes.
I can save you. But, it's your own game you're playing because you think you're all this almighty, powerful person that can save everybody. You're not really hearing what's going on with them. You just made an assumption that whatever it is wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it has a little bit more. It says, simply do your part to help those around you to become stronger in their spirit without judgment or criticism. To serve is to rule, and your service is needed now. So it's service through this energy of love.
Very good.
Vibration, without judgment, without criticism of whatever it is they're experiencing. Because a lot of times you see that. People are like, so stupid, married to it don't matter, right?
Right.
Like, yeah, and you know what's best for that person? You can't possibly know what's best for that person. But we want to empower that person to tap into what is best for them. That's what it's all about.
I limit myself to helping only those people who have expressed an interest in being helped, like, please help me solve this issue. And then I might, share a comment or a thought or something like that. And even then I do it as limited as I can because I always ask myself, am I really hitting their hot button that they're trying to ask me to help them hit? Or am I misdirecting them? And I never really know for sure. So you have to kind of like take almost a hands-off view when you're helping somebody. Like, yes, I'll give you some help, but I don't want to run this for you. Right.
You know what, too? It's like sometimes even with those like comments on Facebook and stuff, people will want to chime in as if they're the authority. And so it's more about them and their authority and what they know than it is about actually helping that person with the question.
Yeah.
And you can see that. I don't know if you can see it. I can feel
I've seen it a lot, yeah.
You can feel it, right? When something is genuine, wanting to help that person, or from when someone is coming from this almost a superior feeling, like, listen, I'm enlightened. I know a lot of stuff. I'm a healer. This is what you need to do.
You know where I see it most often? I see it on posts where the person is venting about stuff going on in their life that they don't like, but they don't actually ask a question. They're not asking for help. They're just venting. They're just putting it out there. And that's where you get a lot of people doing exactly what you're talking about. Okay, well, I have the solution for you. Here's the solution. They didn't ask for a solution. They weren't asking questions. They were just saying, I just want to get this out there. I'm frustrated. That's all.
Right. But it doesn't mean that every comment is that way. You kind of got to feel it and see, does this person feel genuine, or do they feel like it's like an ego. They want to show that they're in some way better.
Yeah, that happens. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Interesting combination of cards, though. The cornucopia reversed and the lend a hand. I can't remember exactly how they phrased it, but the lend a hand card is what I'm calling it because it's a good combination. Jeffrey actually commented, too, about both of those. Let me see if I can pull up what he said. Cornucopia reversed, to me, we are so abundant we can give away all of our abundance so that it can be refilled. Just my energetic impression from that card. And then Jamie followed up by saying drama can be a point of view or a state. Being caught up in the drama, as in my own perception, is set for drama. And she followed up by saying we are all healers simply by seeing another in a loving way. I have aided their healing as well as my own. It's so perfect. So just a few comments shared from the audience. But I love it when our listeners engage in what we're talking. And they actually carry on a side conversation, which is even cooler.
All right. So should I do one more card? I pulled out 3. I usually always pull out 3 decks.
Yeah, 3's good. Let's go with the card.
This one's from the Vibrational Energy Oracle deck.
You have decks that have some of the most interesting names. I mean, names that I never would have even conceived of. I don't know where you find them, but they're pretty cool names.
Well, there's tons of them. I have like 40 or more, but I mean, there's tons of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And I'll go through stages where I use certain decks for a while, and then I don't use it for a long time, and then somehow it comes. I guess you just have to trust the right decks will be available at the right time too.
Well, it seems to work because literally every single week that you're drawing cards during our podcast, they hit perfectly with what we're talking about. So don't change a thing. You're doing it right.
Yeah. Oh, boy, the pressure's on. Let's see what happens with this one. And my guy's like, hey, no problem. We like this. This is fun. We got this.
We got this. We got this.
All right, what are we going to get? Let's see. 2 Faces of Mankind.
Okay. 2 Faces of Mankind.
All right. I don't think I've seen that card before.
All right.
Okay, it's going to be short and sweet. So it says, where there is a feminine, there is a masculine. A negative needs a positive and vice versa. You cannot create a harmonic vibration without first acknowledging and accepting balance of yin and yang in your life. It is the law of vibration and energy, which is ever evolving. So, I mean, that could just be this whole thing we were tapping into before with, there's people that are very loving and very good and doing all this good stuff in the world. And then there are people that aren't. Mm-hmm. But it's the yin and the yang. There's purpose to both sides of it.
Absolutely.
We just don't always, it's just really hard to see that other side when we judge it as wrong or evil. A lot of it feels very evil, I gotta say.
Yeah. Well, that's the drama. That's exactly what the drama is. Drama is about focusing on the idea of good and evil, of right and wrong, of morality plays and all that kind of thing.
But if we were really, truly going to let spirit lead the way, then we're like, okay, spirit's got a plan. There must be some purpose to that. Mm-hmm. And in a lot of ways, usually that what happens is a huge outpouring of love after something evil, right?
It raises the question that I think we all answer at some point as we are learning this stuff. For me, I answered this question really early on, but I suspect it's at a different point for different people. The question is, do we really believe that love is all powerful? Because if we do believe that, then we have every reason to trust. We have every reason to say, okay, let's just let go of the oars. Let it just go the way it needs to go because it's going to work out.
But we can't discount that we are actually in a body. We chose to be in this body.
We did.
And so we're not always, and we can tap into that spiritual part of us where we just feel that bliss and we know everything is beautiful. But then again, that's that awakening roller coaster. Then you're like, back down here again. But anyway, let's get an angel card. Let's just see what the angels want to say about it.
Sure. Okay. I'm along. Oh, wow. A whole bunch of comments. I don't know if I can bring them all in. I won't even try to read all of it. Let's just say that Jamie and Jeffrey are going at it. They are just sharing all this wonderful stuff.
They're having a party.
They are, yeah. Really, really good stuff. Really good.
Now, the thing is on the, I don't think that, do they show up on when you have the replay after the live?
Yeah, they actually show up in the order that they showed up while we were doing the recording.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is cool. That's one thing I like about the way YouTube does it.
All right, so now I get giving and receiving. All right, let's see what. Oh, and I opened to it. I love when that happens.
Right in the right place of the book.
All right, so it says, the entire universe operates in cycles similar to your inhalations and exhalations. When you only exhale and give, or you only inhale and receive, you become out of rhythm with the universe. For optimal health, energy, and replenishment, balance each inhalation in your life with an exhalation. So we've got the good and the evil, right? It's just the yin and the yang, or, the feminine, the male energies. I mean, they can all balance each other out. Mm-hmm. But this giving and receiving thing, besides all that we've talked about today, it's so hard for people to receive. We can give so easily.
Isn't that interesting?
Everyone needs to work on their receiving.
Why do you think that is? Why is it so difficult to receive?
Because somewhere along the way, I think we were taught that it's wrong, that we're being selfish, or we're being stingy, or, that maybe it's, when you have to live without, so that other people you have to sacrifice yourself for other people. There's so many different belief patterns that have been built, whether it's through religion or other things around that.
I think you're right, though. I think that those are some of the indications, some of the sources of it. And they're probably a lot more than we realize. If we thought about it, we could say, yeah, there's actually a whole bunch of them.
Yeah. Well, that's why you have a lot of healers who think it's wrong to take money for healing people.
Oh, sure.
They have to sacrifice themselves, and they have to go without, because it's more honorable to be poor and help people.
Yeah. I never quite understood that one.
The better you're doing for yourself, the better you're doing for those people you're empowering too, I mean, anyway.
I like the way Abraham explains that one, because they point out that the only way you can help somebody else is if you yourself are in high vibration. Well, the only way to be in high vibration is to feel good about what's going on.
Yeah.
And to be in that truly giving place that's not from the point of view of self-sacrifice, but just because I've got all this energy to burn. Here's some of it. And
it's, also, if you have the more money you have, the more people you can help, the more you can donate to things that are really needing it in like big chunks, not like little dribs and drabs,
Exactly.
The other thing too is, and then there's always the analogy, and so many people give it, of being on the airplane, right? They want you to put the oxygen mask on first, so then you can help your child.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. So it says, the angel sent this card to you because your giving and receiving ratio has been out of balance lately. So I think it's talking to just the conversation from today, right? To make a point. Okay. If you've been giving much more than receiving, you're likely feeling that others are taking advantage of your kindness. That happens, right?
Sure.
If your imbalance is in receiving more than giving, you may feel uneasy, depressed, or even guilty for taking so much, right? While it's impossible to perfectly balance giving and receiving each day, you can strike a healthy balance. And to do so, be sure to give something like time, money, a gift, or compliments on a daily basis without expecting anything in return. On the same day, be a gracious receiver to unexpected offers of help, compliments, or other gifts. Say thank you without embarrassment or guilt in relationships to where you are and as a primary giver. Express your needs and ask for help. So, yeah, I mean, we talked about on other shows, I couldn't even receive compliments for a while.
Oh, dear. Yeah, I know what you mean, too.
I couldn't. And I knew where that came from, because I would always be complimented to the detriment of my sister. So I didn't want that, because I didn't want her to feel bad.
Right. Yeah. It's a very common thing for sure. In fact, I'm thinking about a course that was given by, what's her name? She's a friend of Cindy Chavez's, Jeanette Moore. And one of the things that she encouraged, I think it was like day 2 or day 3 of that course, it was like, one a day, here's a thing to do today, was to spend your day being aware of opportunities where people say something nice to you. They say something complimentary. They say something pleasant. And noticing how we are so used to dismissing and saying, oh, well, it's nothing or whatever. Stopping ourselves and saying, thank you. I really appreciate it. Taking it in, accepting it. And I remember that day. I remember doing the exercise that day. And boy, you do get more opportunities than you realize in a day to do exactly that. It was really something.
I would deflect compliments all the time. I say, oh, no, it's not. I point out something else that was better. Like anything to keep the compliment away from me.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it was really stupid. But I didn't. It's just something that was running. I had to clear that. I cleared that energy. Now I can take compliments and I can stop and say, thank you, without ever. Oh, you know who it was? I think. What's his name? Here we go. I think it was T. Harv Eker. You know T. Harv Eker? I got his name. The Good Millionaire. T. Harv Eker. He said, do this for a week. Okay, you ready? This is a hard one.
Okay.
If you're, so my husband and I would play with this. I forget how he put it, but if someone says they love you, don't say anything back. Just take it in.
Wow.
You don't have to give it back. Just allow yourself to receive it. So we try this for a little while because we never say I love you, and then the other one never says anything I love you back, right? So it'd be like one of us would say it, and the other one would be trying not to say it. Okay, I'm really trying not to say I love you back. Okay, I'm just going to take it in. I'm just going to take it in. I'm just going to take it in. Try it with your wife. It's kind of, but his whole point with that was being able to receive. And he teaches how to receive. A lot of his stuff is how to be spiritual and wealthy. Mm-hmm. Okay, to be a spiritual person.
Yeah.
To be wealthy, and there's so much good you can do. It really lifts everybody up. But that was like a fun thing.
I remember seeing somebody post in one of the groups fairly recently, how can there be these people who they claim to be coaches. They claim to be life coaches and they claim to be helping other people to obtain wealth and so forth. And they themselves aren't wealthy. I mean, the hypocrisy of that. How could they possibly do that? They should be ashamed of themselves, blah, 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 blah.
I'll tell you the easy answer to that. It's harder to fix yourself than it is to fix everybody else.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Right? So, no one is perfect. No one's ever perfect. Mm-hmm. Now, some people only coach in a certain area because they have actually mastered that, right?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
I think that's a very judgmental thing, that the way that you put that somebody might have said it that way. Mm. But a lot of coaches will think that too. They're like, how can I help people to overcome blah, 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 when I still struggle with it myself? Mm-hmm. And it's like, sure. And a good teacher is going to tell you, listen, we're all just human. And really, that's why I have my own coach, because I can do my own healing. I can clear a lot of stuff, but sometimes I can't get to the root. I can't get there because my mind wants to get in the way once again and try to figure it out. Yeah. Whereas when I go to my own coach, she just picks up on the energy and she'll say, well, what about that? I'm like, no, that's nothing. No, what about that? I'm like, oh, man, that's it. That's it. That's exactly it. Why didn't I see that? And she's like, you're not supposed to see your own stuff. You're not supposed to see your own stuff, right? You're here to help other people, and then you get someone to help you.
And that's a good balance right there. That's a good way to balance stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, before we finish up for the day, too, I want to give people the opportunity to find Linda Armstrong, the coach. So how do they reach out to you?
lovemylife.coach.
Lovemylife.coach.
Anything you need to know, it's all there. I mean, I got links to all of the social media. I mostly am big on the YouTube and my website.
Yeah, your YouTube subscribership has been going up lately. I've been watching it. I think you increased by like 100 over the last few weeks or something like that. Yeah. And
it's going to go up probably another 100 in the next day or two, because there's a channel called Higher Self. Uh-huh. They have like 550,000 subscribers.
Oh, wow.
And they will find other healers and coaches that they want to share. And they'll put your video on their channel.
Oh, nice.
So they put my May Energy update on their channel, and I got like 100 new subscribers right off the bat there.
Fabulous.
And I just put my June up there today.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really great.
Yeah, that's really nice that they're doing that. And they're getting a lot of different voices out there. And It doesn't matter how big your channel is. Like they'll have people who have hundreds of thousands and they're sharing their stuff. And they have people who have 100 subscribers and they're sharing their stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Really generous. Yeah.
Well, thank you once again for sharing all your marvelous energy wisdom, because you are definitely our energy coach par excellence here on LOA Today. So thank you so much.
Right, thank you
to our podcast listeners and to our live stream listeners as well. We will see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Camera's on me. I better dance. Oh, now it's on you. You have to dance.
Yeah,